somebody else.
Sorry. Good. Thank God I got Maria and everyone here.
Yeah, just waiting a few seconds for people coming in. Hello, those online and also those on site. We are very happy to see you. How beautiful that you came to work on your mind when the outside options are so wonderful. At the moment in Switzerland, the weather is really amazing. So there's a lot of other things you could have been doing. For those here on site, we started with a little housekeeping, so I don't forget. Just feel welcome in the center as you are. There is a tea kitchen upstairs. Just use it as if it was your own. You can take any snacks or teas or whatever seems useful to you. You can also look into the drawers. Don't be shy. There's a washroom here and one upstairs, of course, also to use. A few things about the organization. We are a small group of students here, but we are part of a bigger organization called the FPMT. It was founded by two lamas. Here is Lama Yeshe on the right side of His Holiness and Lama Sopa on the Rinpoche on the left side. They really founded it also to help students who didn't grow up in a Buddhist tradition. So there are many structured programs on every level. If you're interested in that, please visit the website of the FPMT or also ask somebody here at the center. And last but not least, all our activities are based on donations. It's pretty amazing that we are able to do that, pay the rent of this place here in the middle of Zurich, and also other expenses that we have just by donations. But it's only possible because people are helping out. So if you have something to spare, we are very, very grateful if you can give either in cash or there's Twint, or on the website you find our bank statements and also PayPal. But now the most important thing, I'm very happy to welcome Tahlia as a teacher in the center. We are very grateful and happy that she gives us this opportunity to learn. Tahlia is originally from Taiwan, so she grew up in a Buddhist tradition, and she has been studying for a long time in all the traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. There are 4 schools in Tibetan Buddhism. And yeah, she has been a great student also of His Holiness. She has been very supportive to Laksam Center for a very long time. She has been SPC and also helped organize a lot of our teacher events, including the events with the very highest lamas that we had here in Switzerland. She has offered us many meditations and teachings. Actually, I was one of her first students, maybe, or the first long-term student. So I am really happy that she is now teaching again, and I think we will have a wonderful day together. Thank you, Tahlia.
Thank you. All right. So yeah, I got a mic here. Thanks for the heart. Who is that? The heart. Yeah. Okay, I better put my glasses on. And it's also really nice to see my neighbors. I got my neighbors online. They're on vacation in Spain, and they thought, oh, they just joined us. So very supportive of teachings. I mean, just really nice. Have I got to talk about this little fluffy thing. Back in March, I was in Nalanda Monastery, helping the monastery to do some video recording using this device. So this little fluffy thing has been attention of many lamas. They like it. So there's a very blessed microphone. So hopefully I bring the blessing here. All right, so there you stay. All right, good. So by looking at some people who are here today, who is the here and now? Because I sent out the survey. I asked Tara to send out survey. So I was very interested in where everyone is. So here and now, can you reveal yourself? It doesn't have to be pictures, but I'm curious who you are.
Hi, hello. This is just the name that I gave my device a few years ago, and I wasn't able to change it. But my name is Magdalena.
Oh, Madalena.
Hello,
Okay, good.
yes.
And then we have here also on site. Yeah, I've tried to make it more interactive, even though we have on site and online, like sometimes, we just go at the teachings, and then at the same time, I think it's really good to kind of be familiar with the Sangha, the support that you're in. So we have Christine. I'm just going to turn the camera here. Christine here.
Hi.
Shania?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then
Yeah.
Maria,
Yeah.
Paulina. Okay, good. Maria. Okay, good. All right, so good. So I'm Tahlia. I just want to not take too much time, but I would just explain kind of my background. I'm going to explain how I prepare this course, because I find that it's helpful to talk about the motivation. Yeah. So FPMT offers many standard courses like Meditation 101, and also in the other course, Discovering Buddhism, the second module is how to meditate. Yeah. And then there are also new courses that might come up on four close mindfulness on meditation. But so these are all very valuable kind of courses that get everyone started with meditation. But my background is actually quite very much in the Tibetan Buddhism. So in the Tibetan Buddhism lineage, we often just dive right directly into analytical meditation. So analytical meditation mostly are guided in a way to transform the mind. So it follows the Lojong kind of categories, Lojong. So it's also assuming almost like, you have already quite high level of control of your mind. Yeah. So that sometimes it's a bit harder to kind of get into, or you start to get into it and then you kind of being taken back. So my aim is really, so I'm just going to tell you a little story of how I started meditating. So my understanding of Buddhism really started by reading scriptures, reading books, like most of us started, right? And then at some time you feel like you need to find a teacher who could actually teach you, or at least go to. So when you have questions, you got someone to ask. So that kind of, so I started, have various teachers throughout my life, like throughout, childhood or university time. But I was never doing sitting meditation. So one day, actually not a long time ago, like 10 years ago, I thought, well, this is like I really need to know how to sit. Yeah. So I went to a very famous, renowned meditation teacher. And I thought, oh, he came to France and then do a huge meditation camp. Then I very enthusiastically signed up the camp with my husband in southern France. I thought, yeah, it's going to be great. 10 days. I've never, I did lots of yoga before, so sitting physically is not really a big problem. But I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So very great. So I signed up, and then we traveled to southern France from Switzerland. We checked in. And the first section is like 200 people, and I didn't know that organization at all. So everyone is sitting in the camp, a tent. You sit down and meditate 30 minutes. And I had no idea what to do, and it's like, okay, so, And guess what happened? My husband and I decided to escape. So the next day we made a very nice trip of southern France. So, but it didn't stop me from seeking guidance. It's really not the fault of the teachers, but it's more like you hear the stories of, I'm very enthusiastic about wanting to do meditation, wanting to know how to do it. But then you really need some guidance, So later on, I really seek out a very important meditation teacher called Alan Wallace, and then he was giving teachings. He doesn't do that anymore in person, but he gives teaching in Bern. So spend a few weeks and then no, a few weeks, 10 days, and then it was really good to get me started. And of course, before that, there's also Venerable Rene who visited us last July. So what I'm saying is that there are two types of meditations in Tibetan Buddhism. One is shamatha meditation. So it's called karma binding. The other one is analytical meditation, right? But then you will also, I just want to get a terminology out there so that we are not confused as to which is which. But you also hear of awareness, mindfulness, and vipassana. And even vipassana, there's different pronunciations, vipassana or vipassana. So vipassana, Tara corrected, say, oh, is that a typo? It's not a typo. Vipassana, spelled as S-H-Y-A, is insight meditation. But then we got confused as well because there's also in the market, I mean, it's also, you will find there's insight meditation. But we have, I'm not here to teach all kinds because my background is still rooted in Tibetan Buddhism. So I could only interpret it from this lineage, yeah? So vipassana is a Sanskrit and translated as insight. But how do we put it in the whole, whole Buddhist teachings of the, in Tibetan Buddhism? So insight meditation is with the meditation to get you to understand emptiness. So it's an insight into emptiness. Yeah. So mindfulness also currently is very kind of popular and everyone's doing a lot of mindfulness. In this tradition, it's not taught so much. Yeah. But it can be used. It's just a skill that you cultivate awareness in order to do shamatha, in order to do other meditations. So we're gonna, but in this weekend, we have only four sessions, and each session is about 2 hours or so with a break. But we'll focus on both on shamatha and a little bit of analytical meditation. Vipassana is the last stage of Lamrim. So it's not really, Lamrim is a stage of meditation. I think in the handout, I wrote it there, right? So that's not going to be included here. But what we will do is we're going to have a taste of what analytical meditation is at the end tomorrow. But today we'll mainly focus on shamatha, if that's okay. Yeah. So, but it's often not so much taught as well in this school, in Tibetan Buddhism, because it is, when people come to Tibetan Buddhism, okay, because it comes from a long tradition of in Tibet and India, right? So it's almost assumed that people have that level of calmness and shamatha already. So it's often not taught, but we're gonna kind of focus on that because this is a beginner introduction to meditation. And that's a very vital, like really, really good skills to do, like to have, to acquire. Not only that, if you are, I mean, it's very cultivated in Theravadan system tradition, as well as, yeah, mostly in the like forest monk tradition, for example. But when you bring it to Mahayana system, the Bodhisattva vehicle, shamatha is actually one of the 6 perfections. So one of the 6 practices of a bodhisattva or anyone who is aspire to the great compassion path, right? And then vipassana is the last one. It's the wisdom on this wisdom realizing emptiness. So it's all tied together. So analytical meditation really leads to the vipassana, right? But at the end, this might get very technical, but at the end of vipassana, you also need shamatha, the karma binding, in order to stay focused on your analytical skills. So analytical meditations is really like you can take any objects or any subjects you want to contemplate on and use that skills. And then we'll talk about how to do your own analytical meditation tomorrow. So today we'll do shamatha. Okay, so I think everyone got a handout, right? So there's no need for me to kind of going through them in a great detail, correct? Okay, so because I feel that if I'm not going through that, it's more like, okay, I'm not teaching, but more like, okay, I'm just gonna give some highlights, yeah? So in this school, in the Tibet, and again, it is, when I say in this school, it's not, doesn't mean that you have to follow it. It's just more like to explaining where this theory is coming from, okay? So there are different schools or interpretations of what meditation is. But in Tibetan Buddhism, it's very strongly emphasizing on getting to know one's own mind. Yeah, it is not just about getting calm and peace, but because the mind plays such an important role in our lives, right? So because we have 6 senses, right? We have eyesight, touch, feeling, all that. But the 6th one is the mental consciousness. So that we perceive this outside world through these 6 senses. And most importantly is the mind. Well, at least to me anyway, or at least to how this school of system is really emphasizing the mind, right? Because the mind, how our mind is really creates one's own happiness and suffering in some way. Or we can say the perceptions, right? The mind is what we perceive the world. So how we perceive it, it has a lot of conditions in it. So traditionally, you can say karma and afflictions, but that's bring down to a very daily kind of life, right? How we perceive it really has a lot to do with perceptions, our perceptions, and that comes from the mind. So then, because how we perceive the world with the mind as the sensor, we create our own happiness and our own sufferings, or our own unhappiness. Let's put it this way: happiness, unhappiness, or neutral, right? So that's why the mind is so important in our kind of spiritual path, in a way. So I would like us to maybe not to get too bored with all these theory, but to maybe come to let's quiet our mind a little bit with a short meditation. And then we'll talk about meditation while you're sitting. I'll talk about motivation while you're sitting. So I can see most of you how you sit. So that's very good. And we'll also go over postures as well. So let's just come to a just very relaxed and very kind of nothing to do kind of, bring us to the present moments where you are right now. And find a very comfortable seat, the most comfortable seat for you, where you don't worry about if this is right or this is wrong. And then first, just bring your attention to your breath. And again, this is a very kind of a loose, kind of not very detailed instruction we're going to later. But we're just starting, so we'll take it easy. Take a few breaths to just bring your awareness to here and now. And try to maintain a very straight spine by relaxed shoulders. And try to relax as much as you can. So we talked about how important it is to, to bring awareness to one's own mind or one's own consciousness. then let's reflect on your own individual motivation for spending this weekend here, or at least, having that motivation to wanting to maybe spend some time for meditation. It can be, you would just want to overcome some mental obstacles that you have or experiences that you have that's related to the mind. Could be maybe anxiety, stress, or you just want to kind of feel peaceful. Or on the spiritual path, based on the gradual path to stages of path to enlightenment, LinnBorn, that's what I'll refer to later on. There also could be 3 types of motivations based on your really capacity or what you feel that's correct and suitable for you. So for the beginner, sometimes you would like to, if you think there's a rebirth, and then you recognize there's a precious rebirth, human life, for example, or a different kinds of 6 realms of existence, including, animal realms or hell realms. Those are hard to perceive, but we can see animal realms, right? And you just thought, oh, wow, it is so precious to have this human rebirth, this life, this body that gives you so much opportunity, so many opportunities to be engaged in meaningful life or to live a meaningful life. And if you think that the consciousness continues from this life to next life, and you would like to have similar experiences next life, like having a very precious rebirth, that's the smaller, the beginner's mind, the beginner motivation. Then further on your path, you realize, there's dissatisfactions in samsara, this circle of continuously birth and rebirth. It just keeps coming back without doing anything to kind of help to remove the mental afflictions or the difficulties that the causes of unhappiness. You thought, okay, I want to be out. I want to be out of this cycle of existence of birth and rebirth continuously without end. Then you bring your attention to wanting to live a life that will get you out of it. Yeah, that's the second scope, the second motivation of wanting to reach nirvana. But at the same time, you could say, okay, how about other sentient beings? I'm out, and how about them? My friends, my families, as well as, like nowadays we start to have lots of pets at home, and then we treat them like families, even though they're animals. And also we want to bring them happiness and want them out of dissatisfactory circumstances. So not just animal realms and also other realms. Then you have this motivation of Bodhisattva path, which is the highest path of this LinnBorn. So reflect on your own motivation, because we are all at different stages of our life and we have different experiences. So take a few moments to reflect on your motivation, thinking, okay, so that is the motivation in my life, and I'm here now. how they relate. Yeah, your actions with your motivation and how you spend your time. So I just be quiet. So we allow some time to reflect on that. Can you hear the gong? Okay. So the online people cannot hear the gong, but so slowly come out of your meditation, but have a little bit of remember the last thought that you had, which is supposed to be the conclusion, right? So we started thinking, okay, what are our motivations? And then at the end, you kind of really focus on that final point of the reasons. Yeah, you can even reduce it to just one line or one word. And then you really focus on that. That creates strong imprints in the mind. Okay, good. So I think in the beginning, we talk about the types of meditations, right? And then we talk about the shamatha meditation and analytical meditation, and how the analytical meditation leads to vipassana, which is insight into emptiness. So today we will actually spend quite a lot of time on shamatha meditation and talking about the qualities of shamatha, and also, okay, shamatha, maybe I should go back to what it's like the other terms that you will hear when it's referring to shamatha. It could be called a placement meditation, and you could also sometimes hear it's karma binding meditation, but in Sanskrit it's shamatha, which leads to samadhi. So a lot of us here actually have quite a lot of experiences with that type of meditation that eventually you want to reach samadhi, right? So in the Theravadan system, they talk about reaching jhana, many different levels of jhana. But when we go back to shamatha system, the jhana is actually a very later stage. So they have a different markers for jhana when you're in the Theravadans. I never really studied Theravadan system, but when I speak to my Theravadan friends who have practiced a lot in that system, it seems that the jhana system, like the markers are different from the shamatha system. So there's a book called Attention. I put it in the reference, Alan Waller's Attention Revolution. It lays out clearly 9 stages of shamatha in this system. So the jhana is really, the first jhana is the last shamatha that you achieve samadhi at the end. That's the 9th in this system, right? So, so it's just a side note that there may be different, the same term, but often referred differently. But in shamatha, it's the 9th stage that you really reach almost like the first jhana. It's like you reach samadhi. So there is the really good benefits of, in the way our teachers taught, it's always important to talk about the benefits. It's very skillful in the way that, it's like a carrot in front of, it's like, okay, this is the benefit, this is the benefit. So yes, there are benefits now, but somehow I feel like it's like side effect of doing something. So the mind becomes calm. You will have a sense of joy for meditation at the end. And when you actually, not that I have any attainment, okay, it's just from the books and from the teachings of our teachers, especially the Buddha. At the end, you not only that you have peace of mind, you can also read people's mind, and you will have clairvoyance. So if you take kind of on the path of Bodhisattva path, that your job is to help other people, it would not be nice to have that ability to read people's mind and know what's best for them, and to have this like the skills to help other people. So the practice of shamatha is never for oneself, yeah, even though there are tremendous amount of benefit to reach that state, but for beginners as well. For example, we are quite busy in modern world, right? So even we have the skills of practicing shamatha, at the end of the day, you are able to restore energy for yourself, restore calm mind for yourself. That also has almost like immediate effect, right? So what I'm trying to say is there are 9 stages, and we cannot cover that, and I'm not capable of cover that, because it's also important in our tradition that you don't teach what you don't know. Yeah. Even you just learn it from the book, it's still best that you have a realization before you actually teach. So I'm just here to share experience. So 9 stage of shamatha, right? So usually when we get to 4th stage, when we can stay, I know I'm going ahead of myself now. So we will talk about different, we won't be going to great details of which stages you achieve what, because it's on the book. I think you can go back and see the appendix number 3 or 2, or I can send it to you later. But if we were to practice now for like a weekend on shamatha, and a lot of you have experience already. You've already probably at level 4 where you don't forget your object. Yeah, so that's good. That's what most teachers suggested, that if you're able to do that, then you're ready to analytical meditation, or you're ready to change a different object of meditation. Like, for example, using a mind, which is then related to more of Tibetan Buddhism teachings of the mind and consciousness, right? So that's shamatha meditation. There's benefits of that. And then for us right now, I don't know where you are in your practice, it is fundamental to kind of, even to just live a peaceful life, right? To be able to know the mind through the meditation. Okay, so do you have any questions? I've been talking, but I'm just thinking, do you have any feedback or questions, or no? That's good. Okay, so that's just, did you rest enough that we can do another meditation? Okay. All right, so that's, we will go through the sitting postures after this one, but let's just get a little bit taste of what, okay, I want to show, please show a hand who has done shamatha meditation before. Raise your hand. Here now? Oh, yes, good. Everyone has. All right, good. Then don't worry, you haven't. That's perfectly fine. That's why we're here. So for those who have, maybe you just, try to see if a quick review. And even if I were wrong, just tell me I was wrong later on. And then so we'll just do a quick review for those who have done it. And for those who have not done it, don't worry, we're gonna start. We're gonna go through some details. So first of all, let's just come to the most comfortable seat that you have right now, that's suitable for your physical condition. Yeah, because the relaxation, like having a very good posture for you, is very important. The reason is that if eventually you are going to meditate for more than 20 minutes, and then there's a pain here or there, you cannot meditate. So it's important to find a very comfortable postures, either sitting or lying down, which we will talk about later, or standing. It's very crucial for meditating, because we're meditating with a mind, not with a body. So the body doesn't, we want to structure our body in a way that it does not create noise for the mind. Yeah, okay, good. So let's just sit or lie down if you like. And I invite you to do a quick scan of your body. So we will kind of first take a few breaths. Then I invite you to bring your awareness to the base of your body, where your body touches either the cushion or the chair. And if you're sitting on a chair with legs, like 90 degrees, then you bring the awareness to the feet. Yeah, wherever your body touches the ground or the chair. Then with each inhalation, recall your motivation. With each exhalation, just allow your base to be strong and supportive. In other words, also relax the rest of your body. And most importantly is try your best to maintain a straight spine. So how? So you imagine that there is a string on top of your crown, and then it's pulling your spine up gently. So you elongate your spine, make it tall and long. And once you feel like, okay, that's quite tall and that's quite long, and bring awareness to your chest. And try to kind of have a broad chest. That means the back of your shoulder blades might come slightly together. Very good. And maintain that. Relax your shoulders. And then relax your neck. And your neck just kind of gently floats above your shoulders. And your head also floats above your neck. Very good. And relax your jaw. Relax your arms. And you could even have your palms facing down and resting on your thighs that are closer to your knees. Or you can hold a meditation mudra, which is left palm on the bottom, right palm on the top, inside of the left palm, and thumbs touching. And you just gently rest your arms down. And then we come back to the overall posture before the final touch. So again, you find from time to time, this is not rigid, right? It's not like, you sit there for an hour. No, it's, sometimes we kind of relaxed a little bit. That's fine. But the most important thing is try to have a straighter spine, because that helps the energy flow. And when the energy is flowing well, the mind is more clear. So the jaws are relaxed. And your lips can part slightly or not. And then your tongue is touching slightly on the back of your front teeth. But that's not the most important thing. That's when you actually meditate for hours, and then it's from prevent you from drooling, or for the saliva to be able to not, prevent you from drooling. And then relax your eyebrows. Then you can meditate either with eyes closed or eyes open. But in this tradition, it's suggested that you start with eyes open. But that just means that you gaze somewhere in front of you for about a meter or a meter and a half. That naturally, you're just gazing, not looking. And there are a few benefits of that. For those who fall asleep easily, when they meditate. That helps to have some light coming in so that you can remain more alert. And another benefit is that, we perceive this world with our six senses. So we're not really shutting out our eye consciousness from the external world. Because eventually when we don't have a sitting meditation, we need to go out. We need to open our eyes. So that's also another really great benefit of starting with meditating with eyes open. It doesn't have to be very, like staring, but more like having a gap. And then you just gazing, but not looking. And eventually, when you get used to it, you're actually not looking at anything. But it's good to try it for yourself. And another element that you can observe right now is that, do you have more thoughts when your eyes are closed or open? That's something good to observe. Then with shamatha meditation, what's very important, or the key element of what shamatha meditation is, that you need to have an object to start with. There's also shamatha with an object. We'll talk about it later, or we'll practice it later. But right now, let's start with the beginning, that there is an object that you pay your attention on, or you rest your awareness on. So let's start with the breath. So I invite you to bring your attention now to your own breath. Let's just start with the bigger focus, like is less subtle, which is rise and fall of your abdominal area. So as you breathe in, you would notice that perhaps your body expands or your abdominal area kind of rises. When you exhale, kind of contracts, right? Or your body contracts slightly. So it could be a movement or it could be a sensation. But you decide now what is your focus, like either on the sensation side or on the movement. But that will be your object of meditation for now. And then we'll do that for about 5 minutes or so. So with shamatha meditation is an object. So that is your object of meditation. It's not necessarily a virtuous object, but it is an object that's easy to access and helps us training, right? So let's just do that for 5 minutes quietly, and we'll see how it goes. Slowly, slowly release your attention. So expand your awareness from that area to maybe to the whole body and then to the space in your space and then slowly come out. Good. Do you need a short break? Yeah. Let's take a 10 minutes break. Yeah, 10 minutes break. And we'll come back in 10 minutes.
Thank you,
If
Tahlia.
you have any questions or something, just put in the chat for me, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. All right. So, how was it? Good. Yeah, it's also okay. Good. So Daniel wrote a question in the chat saying for those who have scoliosis, like the spine, MS, the spine naturally is not straight. What do we do when, get the instruction of maintaining a straight spine? Yeah, exactly. Not to worry about it. As the most important thing is what is most comfortable for you. Of course, it helps with the energy flow, and also when you have other practice such as the tantric generation stage, completion stage, where you manipulate the prana, that we don't know, like then we see how that happens. But I mean, just regular meditation, just be as most comfortable as you can. But I would suggest lying down, because then your whole spine is supported by the floor. Then you don't have to worry about holding it up straight if it's not too uncomfortable for you. Yeah, so that's why, we have this idea that we have to sit to meditate. Yeah, so I want to talk about the three other postures. Yes, it does look very nice and serene, just like the Buddha, you can sit straight. But do we really sit all like that? Right? So it's really nice to have this image, very serene and, like I think once we had meditation teaching, not teaching, more like this once, we have a few very nice sitters, sit very straight and, 2 hours, no moving. Yeah, but you wonder what's going on inside. Yeah, how's the mind doing? Are they holding it up so tight that the back is hurting, a lot of time we've got to be more relaxed and see, what is the essence of what we're doing. The motivation is very important. So yes, so it's then time to talk about 3 other postures together with shamatha. With so many things to talk about. So again, if you could, it's really supine position is highly recommended if you have any physical limitations. Yeah, for like now, we're all different ages, right? There's people who are more senior in age or younger people who, or we have yogis here who have injuries, right? So how do they meditate, And again, meditation is really with the mind, not with the body. So we need to put ourselves, create the best conditions for the mind to meditate. So the body needs to be as comfortable as possible. So supine position is really good. I think I put it down in the note. So that's why it's important. I want to talk about it. That supine position is very helpful if you have like what Daniel is experiencing, or you just want to be sure that you are on the floor being supported, but you also try not to fall asleep. That's the main one thing, because we associate lying down with sleeping. Yeah. And so the thing is, maybe do it during the day, or between sessions, like one sitting, one lying down, if your back hurts, right? So that's very important. And do you remember how the Shakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha, passed into nirvana, paranirvana, also lying down on the left side or right side, right? So eventually we need to, at different age, we need to learn how to meditate with this body as instruments. So lying down is also fine. Walking is also fine. Maybe we do a walking meditation before lunch break. And then standing, right? But we look at these 4 postures, what are the most practical? I mean, we can use all of them, right? While you're walking. So all I'm trying to say is meditation just not about sitting down and looking like you're meditating, okay? The mind is meditating. So while you're walking, do you have awareness of your environment? Do you have the awareness of where your mind is, right? When you're talking to people, do you have awareness of where your words are? How you relate to other people, what kind of words you're coming out of your mouth. Mindfulness, right? That comes to mindfulness. So when you're sitting, I heard one Lama say, well, sitting is the best thing we can do for this world because you're consuming not much, maybe some air, and you're not really doing much damage to other world. You're just being quiet. So sitting is good as well. But there are also these other postures that we can use, and then we can still meditate. So walking, standing, lying down. And in fact, if those who are, there was a while quite few that people we know are interested in dream yoga. So dream yoga is also, dream yoga also you lie down, while you sleep. So you kind of follow your mental consciousness while you're sleeping, to the point that the body is resting, but your mind is alert. Okay, I can't talk more than that, but I know that. So you also need to lie down as well, that you do when you do dream yoga. And then, so these postures, all I'm trying to say is, I feel strong resistance from many people when they don't want to lie down or when they don't want to do walking meditation, because it's not what we see as meditation. All I'm saying is, yes, please give that a try. Okay, so we will do the second meditation as walking meditation, but I want to go back to shamatha meditation. So I think we can do a bit more meditation than talking. Is that okay? All right. So that's, again, go back to our sitting posture. And this time I'll give you a couple minutes to kind of go through what you do with your posture. So I'll be quiet for a minute or so. So you go through as to, okay, if I'm here sitting alone without guidance, what do I do? Okay, and then I will guide the shamatha meditation. Okay, so we're gonna go. And it's very important. If you're in a guided meditation, when the leader hit the gong, what would be your first reaction? Say something.
To start meditating or
Yeah.
end.
Okay, what else? What does it trigger? If it ever trigger you, this sound. Okay, some people will say, work hard, meditate. Yeah, no. When you hear this sound, the first thing is relax. Okay, so here we go. Relax. And then like what I said, just mentally for yourself, go through the 7 points of sitting posture. It's okay if you forget 1 or 2, just try to do with what you have. Try to create the conditions as most suitable for you. So that just say that we are all in the posture that we find ourselves in with the most comfort. Then we find a object of meditation. And this can also be very individual. So in the last meditation, we use the breath, but even the breath has many aspects of the breath that you can focus on. So you can use the rise and fall of abdominal the movement or the sensation of the breath. And if you have been kind of meditating for quite some time and then you feel comfortable, you can also move to a more of a subtler object. It's also breath, but you can find more like a smaller area. So for example, somewhere in front of your nostrils, where you could feel the air, either for some people's cool air, for some people's warm air, but you just find that point. And you could not feel it, then you choose the bigger point. Yeah, so the biggest focus point will be your entire body, rise and expansion and contraction. Then the finer object will be the rise and fall of your abdominal area. The finest aspect is somewhere in front of your nostrils where you could feel the air. So, but you decide on one of these three. And then once you make a decision that that will be the object of your meditation, at least for this session, stay with it. So we'll meditate for 10 minutes. And then so you decide on the meditation, the object, and you stay with it for the next 10 minutes or so. So there's this mental factor called mindfulness here. Mindfulness here simply means do not forget your object. So for however long you meditate, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, an hour, that's the object of meditation that you decide on the beginning of the session. Then you stay with it. It's called mindfulness. Yeah, the mind doesn't go anywhere else but that. But there's also another element of shamatha meditation is introspection. So it's like a self-monitoring alarm system. So when the mind goes away from that object, it might take you a second or very short time in a second. That as soon as you realize that your mind kind of wanders away or falling asleep, you bring it back as soon as possible. But not so soon that you feel so tense, it's like fighting all the time. No, you kind of just gently bring it back. Okay, so 2 mental factors, mindfulness and alertness, is what we need to cultivate and train while doing shamatha meditation. And we will practice in silence for the remaining 7 minutes. Then slowly, slowly expand your attention from your object of meditation. And then come out slowly. So you need to stretch a little bit. Let's take maybe a few moments to stretch. Right. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Maybe next we have a very short Q&A if you have any questions so far. No questions. Or feedback. Like 10 minutes or so. Yes.
I'd like to ask about the position of the hands. There is no difference between holding the hands together and placing them palm down on the legs.
Okay, that's one question. Any other questions? Okay, I will repeat the question that they have in the room and then yes, second.
Concentrate on my breath, and then at the same time I think about other
Ah.
things. What we're doing now. I know I come back, but I don't come back. There's the way.
Okay, good. And anyone online? No. Okay.
Still have the feeling that I'm in the head and watching the belly.
Right.
I still have the feeling that my awareness is in the belly.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Is there something I can do?
Okay. All right. So there's three. So I deal with these three questions. I'm very happy they're questions because I'm like, I've already done what I wanted to teach, what I want to say today. So maybe afternoon we have more highlights on these things. So it's really good to have questions.
You want one more?
Later after, because I'm not very good with my memory, so I could only hold on to this three. Is it related or enhancing the question about hand? I'm gonna address the hand postures. Okay. Okay, so first question is there a difference between palm down on the thighs or holding a mudra? Okay, so if you're a Tibetan Buddhist teachings, there's always holding the mudra. Venerable Fusi Renee recently also just reminded us that having okay, so when you are holding the mudra, there's in Tibetan, in our tradition, there is a way it's symbolized. There's so many symbols in Tibetan Buddhism, right? So the left hand is symbolizing compassion. Right hand, I think I got this right. Right hand symbolizes emptiness. With wisdom, realizing emptiness. Yeah. So you hold it together like this. So in the back, not that you think it all the time, but when you actually hold this mudra, that's what you think. And then two thumbs touching, they're relating, and also energetically, it opens the heart chakra. That was what this mudra is. You know, there's some symbolic meaning to it. Whereas palms down and up on the thighs, well, close to the knees. For me, I usually, when I'm just doing shamatha, I have my palms resting on my thighs because I'm not really doing too much of analytical meditations. So that helps the body to be more relaxed for me, because if you hold hold this, that might, sometimes people tense up a little bit. So for me, shamatha, I usually have my palms down. And in the Hatha yoga tradition, when you have palms down, it's grounding. When you have palms up, it's uplifting. But you need to, it's related to how really your body. So you give it a test and see what's most comfortable. Yeah, so that's the two postures, two hands.
Okay. Cushion to support this posture?
Yeah. Yeah, because people have long arms, short arms, and then I see people holding it very tight is also not good. Most importantly is have a little bit space between the arms and the trunk of your body. So a little bit airs can go through, yeah, so also just hold it. And also you don't have to hold it really tight like this. You've seen many high lamas, they also quite relaxed with it. Yeah, I think for me, it's mostly you remember what they meant in your practice. Okay, so compassion, wisdom, don't forget. Yes, exactly, did very well. Good. Second question is about the thinking and how to come back. The third question is it's always me watching the breath, not be with the breath. Is there anything I can do with that? Okay, that's a tougher question because that's more individual. So let's go with the second question. We go from the easiest to the harder. So is that when you're meditating, right? Your object is breath, but you also notice your thoughts. Do you notice thoughts while you're meditating? Do you ever lose the breath or it's totally gone?
No, it's in the same time.
Perfect.
Breath, no, only.
Yes.
Always.
There's always something else. Perfect. So you're I think stage 3 already. Really good. Because there's 9 stages, right? I mean, the later stages are always the hardest, but in the beginning, I think the 1, 2, 3, 4 are you can probably get it really quickly in two weeks or so. Yes. So it's how do you meditate so that good. I mean, so you're aware of your thoughts that comes and go, right? But you are also aware of the breath at the same time. So what we can do is, but the thoughts are not your object because thoughts can also be your object, right? So the breath is your object. That's what you decided on. So each time you notice that you're thinking, bring it back. That is a practice. And it really eventually is, the more you do it, the more you're able to stay with it, right? So in the beginning, that maybe thoughts come and you're breathing and thoughts come. You need to drop it. As soon as you find out, you say, okay, I come back. So there are a few techniques that are recommended that when you're thinking, you say, or you have thoughts, you just label it. You say, thinking, drop, back. Thinking, drop, back. But of course, it's continuous, right? Like for 10 minutes, you will be having 2 objects at the same time. It's really, you have to make a decision to choose on one. Because the next practice, maybe in the afternoon, we will have practice on thoughts. Yeah, so you can know, you got to choose. Shamatha practice is really just on one. So you can, one object. Yes.
That's possible.
Yes, it is possible. If you're asking if it's possible, yes. It's really a matter of practicing and keep going back. And people really feel like I must reach that state of samadhi, like no thoughts, right? But the practice is really just, the meditation is a practice.
So it's somehow okay.
Yes. Just keep coming back. And eventually, with practice, with time, and also a lot with the environment, maybe we talk about it later, that it is possible. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Maria has a question, is that you still feel you're not the breath. And then it's always someone looking at the breath. I actually have no such problem myself. So do you have any similar experience? Yes. Okay. So how do you overcome that? Help your Dharma friend.
It doesn't really bother me, I have to say.
Okay.
Um,
What helps me, there are two things that help me. One is follow the breath, and how it progresses in the organs, making organic thing inside. You know, how it goes and how it relaxes you and how you feel it. Do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it in your stomach? Do you feel it in your different chakras or the small and the hands? And just that by itself, yes, you are monitoring, but you are slowly monitoring your whole existence, your soul self.
Okay.
And the other thing that helps me as well, sometimes I take myself outside and I monitor myself, monitoring myself. And that you know keeps you.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps.
Okay. So yes. So I think what Maria is talking about, having this sense awareness of sensation. Maybe.
So you are not one with the sensation. Is that what you are dissociated from the sensation? Is that it?
Associated is, yeah. Actually, it doesn't matter. I think I just have to practice more. Did it help what I said? I don't know. Did it make sense or I just.
Okay, that's not put Maria on the spot. Put me on the spot. Okay, good. So then any other feedback from the online group?
Was the question about you're recognizing yourself observing the breath?
Yes.
For me, that seems as another object of awareness. So
Mm.
basically, you're again bringing your attention back to your breath. Yourself observing yourself is an object.
Mm.
So instead, you just then hone it in again back to the breath.
Yes. And remember, there's no right or wrong. I think that's so important.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So you just
Right.
keep trying, you know, if that's what you want to do, right? You can also say, okay, I don't want the breath as my object. Then it also looks like you are observing your mind. So maybe your mind, the consciousness is your object of meditation. Making it more complicated. But you get what I meant. Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, there's absolutely no right or wrong because you get to decide what your object is in the beginning. Maybe like for a long time, our friend Marcus was also saying, oh, you know, he always thought about meditations about empty the mind. And I always would debate with him, say, no, you got to watch your mind. He said eventually, because he came from the Zen tradition, and he told me that, oh, eventually it's the same for him now at the end. Really, he just not necessarily emptying the mind, more like observing the mind. Yeah. So you get to decide what your object is. There's no direct rule because the end result is the same. You know, because I will also then that's bring us to another very good topic is what are the objects? So here we use a breath, right? In shamatha practice, it can be any object. In some schools, they look at a beautiful flower, a lotus. In Zen, they look at stone, you know, because you're just trying to train a concentration skill. And in Tibetan Buddhism, Lama suggested that you look at a statue of the Buddha or a painting of the Buddha because the object itself is virtuous. It brings blessings, right? So, but when you meditating shamatha like technique, it can be any object that you choose. Yeah. So breath is easiest one because it's you're breathing, at least right now. So it's very easily accessible. So you can use that as the object. But let's say eventually you can also use your mind as the object, which we can do a little bit of that meditation later, maybe in the afternoon, using your mind as the object of your meditation. Okay. So
When you use your mind,
another question. Yes.
your
mind as the object of meditation, rather than focusing on emptying the mind or like observing your thoughts?
Yes, we good. Then we got something else to do in the afternoon. The question is, when you use the mind as object meditation, are you trying to empty your thoughts, or your mind is the object meditation? So that's what we do in the afternoon, if that's okay with you. So we have 10 more minutes, and then we can have a break of lunch.
There's
right?
one more question online.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, it's from me, Magdalena. So as far as obviously maintaining the focus of the meditation on the chosen object, right? Not just the thoughts that sometimes obviously come and go, but bodily sensations, right? And I have I've experienced that many times, that I do prefer sitting on a cushion. However, my legs go to sleep or go numb, or you have those pins and needles, and you become very painfully aware of that. And is that I mean, sure, I shift my posture, but is that okay? Is that really major disruption to the flow of the meditation if I shift my posture, then move my legs around? Or
Yes. Okay. So yes, it is encouraged to have stillness, because it helps the mind to settle, right? Yeah, stillness is important, right? But the thing is, if you get to the point that you feel the pain in the body, and you notice that your mind keeps going back, are you meditating or not? Right? No. So yes, it's okay to shift, and no, not so okay. It's humane and it's normal to shift the body if needed, right? And then it's fine, because the body is a body, it does its thing. So if you feel uncomfortable, move, find a better position. But let's say, for example, we're talking about training, right? So let's say if you know you're gonna be very uncomfortable after 20 minutes, right? Maybe you think, okay, if today I wanna, let's say if your mind can stay 20 minutes, but your body cannot, then you find a different posture where you can be supported for 20 minutes, right? For example, without moving. But in the beginning, you don't know. You say, okay, maybe 10 minutes I can sit. But sometimes different days, there are days that your back hurts, there are days that your knees hurt. Then you just adjust gently to that. But let's say if you have established certain practice, like practice for a while, right? You can sit 20 minutes, no problem. But now you want to sit 30 minutes, but at some point you will have to kind of have bigger adjustment of the posture. Then maybe you sit on a chair, right? So you adjust it. But yes, slightly adjustment of the body is perfectly normal.
okay,
Did that
thank
answer
you.
your question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. We have 10 minutes. Let's do our last meditation before the break. So I think we covered a lot of grounds. They got nothing to do in the afternoon, but we'll do the mind. So yeah, so let's just come to, back to the beginning. Think of our motivation for this weekend. And also think about a long term. We've got to have a long-term vision, right? So for this lifetime, the least for the future lifetime, what's your motivation? And then try to see that how cultivating a positive state of mind would help or would not help. And perhaps that's also contemplate on that sort of aspiration. Wouldn't that be nice that we could have peace of mind, that your mind is at peace? So we would have the time and the opportunity to actually get to see the nature of one's own mind. According to scriptures, our mind individually is in essence compassionate. It also has a quality of clear knowing. And this mind is just temporarily obscured by karma and afflictions. But it's not the true nature. It is a true nature of your mind. But these mental afflictions are not. So by either practicing shamatha or analytical meditation or awareness meditation, which we will talk about later this afternoon, perhaps we get closer to recognize the true nature of your mind. So again, slowly release your object by expanding your awareness. And then slowly come out. We'll do a short dedication. Yeah. And we'll talk more about why we dedicate in the afternoon. Yeah, I just said that whenever we do any virtuous actions, this is a virtuous action. That there's positive energy or spiritual momentum that's been created. That's called merit. And so we dedicate this merit first to oneself, as to that whatever we are motivated to do, to come here to be engaged in this action. May we fulfill that motivation. And also may our merit to be dedicated to the benefit of not just oneself, but all sentient beings, friends, families, those we don't know, those we love, those we have problems with, may we dedicate for their happiness and well-being. Also dedicate for good health and long life of our teachers, because without our teachers, we will never have access to these precious teachings and knowledge. Great.
Thank
So we
you.
come. Thank you, Tara, for hosting. And then we get back in about an hour or so. Okay. Get good rest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you later.